I'm going to put you right on the spot though, Finey. Who is your premiership tip right now?
Oh, Richmond.
Okay, why?
And I believe there's only one team that can beat them.
Okay, why weren't Richmond your premiership tip at the start of the season?
Well, I wasn't being disrespectful to them, and that's still an issue. And that is that it's hard to win 2 premierships in a row. They showed that in 2018. They're still going to get to preliminary final day where they have all teams are exposed on preliminary finals day. And I was very bullish about the Bulldogs pre-season, and it hasn't quite come to pass. But I said it was sort of disrespectful not to tip Richmond, but I was looking for an alternative. That being said, I thought Richmond would finish on top of the ladder, or they're not going to, but would be there on preliminary final day. Look, the way the season's panned out, this would be such a wonderful victory for Richmond if they could win a flag this year. Remembering all Victorian teams have done it very tough, been away from home, not had home games. It is really set up for either Port Adelaide or more likely now. The best setup, of course, is for Brisbane with that guaranteed grand final. But then again, that's what Victorian teams have every year, so let's be fair. But Richmond have, if they can win the flag this year, they'll have won 3 out of 4, and they can look back at this extraordinary year and say that we did it in a very different manner to the other premierships. I think West Coast are their danger, though, and you said that Soldo would be well replaced by Chol. I agree, except against West Coast, where they need his size to come up and buff it up against Natanui. I think Natanui could absolutely monster Richmond without Soldo.
Okay, yeah, no, I agree. And look, pre-season, my premiership tip was Richmond. My predicted grand final was Richmond v West Coast. I agree with you.
True.
I agree with you, West Coast are the side that can worry the most. However, I don't think they're going to have to worry about West Coast. I think West Coast aren't going to get a home final. I think it's pretty likely they're going to finish in the bottom half of the 8, and I think Richmond will be able to avoid them. And I think they've got the measure. Well, when I say I've got the measure, Port Adelaide did beat them. But when the stakes are at their highest, I would not tip any team in current circumstances against Richmond. 3 flags out of 4 years, I think, would make this era probably second only to Hawthorn and their 3 flags in a row. Don't forget with Hawthorn too, in terms of form, it probably could have and should have been 4 flags in a row if you throw in 2012. So to me, if they win this premiership, Richmond, this is the second best era of the AFL era, if you like. It would be an incredible achievement. I can't see anyone knocking them off. On a given day, and that's exactly what happened in the 2018 preliminary final. But again, this is a second, I'm not saying you did this, but second season in a row, Richmond has had a run of injuries, dropped a couple of games, and people have jumped off. And I have not for the life of me been able to understand why, because they have been consistently the best team for a 4th year now. And in that whole time have dropped 1 game that mattered. And but for that, probably would be now in a position to win a 4th flag in a row. They are a phenomenal team. They are, and people still, I think, not giving them enough kudos. I don't know if it's the way they play or the fact that, they've got players that we still don't appreciate fully, but they are undoubtedly one of the best teams AFL football, and I'm talking about the last 30 years, has seen. No doubt about that.
I believe that they're the most dominant team I've seen. I'm not sure whether this is a brilliant era, but they are a brilliant team. So they're well served at this particular point in time. I sort of think of when Hawthorn and Essendon were going head-to-head in the 80s. There was also Carlton, Fitzroy. There were so many good teams. Even Geelong, Collingwood, and St Kilda at 2009, 10, 11. Richmond have won their flags against Adelaide, who disappeared the moment that game was over. And, of course, they won their first premiership against, I've got to remember who they beat.
Adelaide.
Adelaide, and then they beat GWS. So, I mean, I'd love to see them face West Coast in the grand final. That would be one heck of a game, because that susceptibility to height in the back line was, for a moment, highlighted with Asafa Radagalia in the start of that last quarter. It's something Richmond have to work hard against. And Soldo works back a lot to make up numbers, and that's why he'll be missed height-wise. I'll tell you what, they've got some players, though. You know, at the start of the year, Jack Rewalt was out of sorts, let's be honest. I thought he was best on ground tonight. 4 goals. He's marking. He's in tip-top form. And I'll tell you what, that Dustin Martin, does he ever double grab at a football, ever? As you say, we do not give them enough credit for how many skillful players they have.
They're a very skilled team. And there's sort of this myth that goes with them that because they like frenetic ball movement, they like the chaos ball, and they back their ability to pressure the opposition and to position themselves defensively, we sort of assume that that's to cover a lack of skill. It's not. Their disposal is superb. Some, like just even guys that were peripheral tonight. I mean, Rioli early on, his disposal superb. Pickett.
He's in great form, Rioli. He went off and came on, and I think was a bit stuttery on one of his legs. But you are spot on. How sharp was he early? And you mentioned Pickett. How about that piece of play when he marked it or got the ball? It was a mark or free, about 50 out. And for some reason, the umpire called play on because he sort of went to kick it and stopped. Shouldn't have been play on, but it put him on the back foot. And off the back foot, he missed it, but it went through half post high. God, he can kick the ball, that bloke.
He can.